I wanted to do a follow-up, a final follow-up, I guess, to this review of this tank battery from Whistle Stop Models. Wanted to get it removed from the sprue, put some paint on it just so you could see what it might look like on your layout. Obviously, haven't done any more detail work or any detailed paint. I just gave it a coat of flat black, just because that's the color that I'm familiar with where I'm from in terms of how these tank batteries look. And then you'll see John, the owner, sent me some photos. This is the prototype that he based the design off of because he designed this himself for 3D printing. And I had mentioned in my first video of how the tank batteries I'm used to are usually arrayed. This is one that he found. Mine, the ones that are closer to where I live, are usually lined up in a row. These are all kind of in a one small area. And so that's why he came up with this design, because that's what he saw in reality. And then he included this photo as well. It came in those two pieces with the two separate sets of tanks separate. And you can see why, because the only connection point is that single pipe. So obviously that would make it a little bit delicate to ship and to handle. And he even says up here that it's you can glue them together, but you don't have to, and I can see why, because that's just that one single point that they'll be connected, which definitely risks the chance of breaking that pipe off. But there was some discussion on the previous videos about removing the base, and I wanted to go ahead and do that just so you all could see what that would look like, and so I could learn how hard that might be. Someone else asked how hard the plastic was. The base itself, and I might as well show the pictures, this is what it looks like. And these spindles kind of surprised me. I didn't expect those to come out from inside the tank. And I'll show you real quick here. Let me pull this out without breaking it. The tanks themselves are empty. There's no bottom to them. And so when you separate the base, these spindles apparently are responsible for how the exterior of the tank is built, or the top. I'm not sure. He would have to explain that to you. But pulling the base off was not that difficult. I basically cut all the little spindles around with my snip tool and was able to just kind of pry it off slowly. And it wasn't that difficult. And I think he told me via email, that's how it would work. But seeing all those spindles come out, and here's the two separate tanks. And then I removed most of them around. Here's the other pump jack that I didn't do. Just cut a bunch of those little spindles out. That was all that was left. And then there we have the finished product for the pump jack. Now in terms of HO scale, this is pretty small for an HO scale pump jack. I would say this size would also work for N scale. But there are pump jacks in the world that are this small. If you were to transfer that up to 1/87 scale back to the prototype size. But I would say the Walthers ones, and I have a couple of Walthers kits here, this one measures about 4.5 inches long, and I would say this is about 2 inches long. So that's why this would probably work really well for N scale if you wanted to use that. Otherwise, these Walthers ones, which do operate, and obviously the 3D printed ones don't, but this would be quite a bit bigger, and you can see that vehicle there for scale. And then you can see this is an HO scale semi tractor trailer here for scale. So everything is fine. It looks really good. It wasn't that big a deal to pull the base off. I think it looks better now without it. And it had to come off anyway because these tanks sit up really snug to that walkway when the pipe is connected there. So it kind of has to come off. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the model overall. I would definitely order this again if I decided to have a bigger oil field, but I think this single unit is going to be just fine for where it's going to sit on my layout, which is right here in this area. So that's just my final review of the product. Hopefully that answers some more questions for all of you that were curious or want to know a little bit more, and just a review of the photos here. But I guess that wraps it up for Whistle Stop Models oil tank battery. Thanks for watching.